Welcome to Tracks to Success, brought to you by Presentation Partners. This is the podcast that brings you inspiring people and their inspiring stories. How did they find their way to the top, and how can their path help you do the same? Here's your host, network broadcaster, executive, and entrepreneur, Kraig Kann.
Right now, on this edition of Tracks to Success, a Grammy-nominated multi-platinum entertainer whose most recent tour is called Down to Earth, which describes him as well. It's been more than 6 years since the release of his debut album, and the Georgia native has found his way to the biggest stages alongside the biggest superstars in country music. He's been on The Today Show, Good Morning America, On with Ellen DeGeneres, and Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel too. Aside from making great music, he's made history, being part of the first ever live radio and TV broadcast from the 57th floor terrace of the World Trade Center overlooking Freedom Tower, performing his hit, You Should Be Here, which reached more than 1 billion people. 9 number one singles, 11 number one singles as a songwriter, 8 platinum singles, awards, and a growing spotlight. When he's chilling it, there's a good chance he's on the golf course or even performing at a golf tournament. He can play, he can write, he can sing. In a career on the rise, you can't call him a flatliner. He's engaging, entertaining, and yet his charm with millions of fans is his easygoing way. His name is Cole Swindell. His inspiring story and this edition of Tracks to Success starts now. Well, Cole, thanks so much for being here. This is a special treat. Little message, by the way, for all of our listeners out there, viewers out there. I've seen Cole Swindell on stage on 3 occasions, twice tied to golf tournaments, and we're going to talk a little bit of golf. Each one of the times that I saw him was better than the time before, and that is the absolute truth. Cole, you weave your story right through every single concert, your personal story, which is what attracted me to saying, I got to get this guy. I really want him. So thank you very much for being a part of this podcast. I appreciate it.
Hey, brother, I appreciate you. And like I said, when I found out we wanted to do this, I was excited to be on. So thank you for having me.
No, all mine. The thrill, all mine. Let's start with that, okay? You're a big country music star. Lots of hit songs. We'll get into that in just a second. But as much as you sing, you're a storyteller on stage. You weave that throughout your performance. Is that about connecting with the audience? Is that what you try to do each and every time?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's about. That's all I'm thinking about is how I'm going to connect with them. How can I connect more with them? And, our set list is important. There's a purpose to every song, where it is, why we're playing it, and, what moments. And, when you're starting out, you're just – you might have one song, everybody knows you're playing that, and you're playing some covers, just trying to get people going. But, you're fortunate enough to have some success, and then you can start adding those moments in. And yeah, I just want to connect with the audience. And I think our set list and the songs that I've written, songs I've recorded helps obviously do that.
Good. I want to talk about that. Okay. How hard is it to figure out exactly which songs go in what order? Like Single Saturday Night. Is that going first, or are you waiting on that?
That's a great point. You never know. I mean, we switch it up some, but once we get it locked in, it kind of stays the same. We may alter it here and there, but pretty much the intro and all that, we have to get our set going. But it just depends on what part of the show. Like last year, we opened up with Love You Too Late, which is just, hammer down, windows down, wide open song that starts the show off. We're usually going to start a show off with a big tempo song, whether it be a single or just a song. And then it just kind of goes from there. The moods, you got to find a place to put the tempos, a place to slow it down and have those moments that are so special. You don't have a lot of those in the show. You want everybody to have a good time, but some people are there to hear the sad songs too. And it just, to be able to weave them in and out and then finally end on a note with something like Ain't Worth the Whiskey, where you're, just raising the glass to all those, helping out right now. It's a cool thing to build a set list.
So what's it like getting ready for a show? Kind of give us the lead up. I don't think a lot of us, myself included, know what you do during the day. Say 2 hours before or 1 hour before, 30 minutes. What's the pre-show routine? Notice I didn't say pre-shot routine. We'll get to that later. Pre-show routine.
Yeah, pre-show routine. So yeah, we'll get the golf later. So this is 2 hours. This is after I'm back from golf. Let's see here. No, we're, just kind of getting ready. I'm hanging on the bus. The band's doing whatever they do. Some of them got headphones on. Some of them are practicing. I'm just kind of getting my mind right. We may be going over the set list, at that point, just trying to figure out where we are. What is there? Are we in an area that's got a big cover song we should play? Are we, whatever that may be. But then as it gets closer, it's, shower time, trying to figure out what I'm going to wear, which I'm not that, I just roll with it. We pick something out. That doesn't take that long. And then, it just depends. I'm kind of sitting around getting ready. We have meet and greet. We have VIP experience where I go and, play these people's songs that are unreleased. That was a cool experience that we had last year. And, give them some acoustic songs. Then we're ready for meet and greet. And then it's kind of getting ready for showtime. When I have friends out, I have to kind of let them know. I'm like, look, sorry if I'm being weird. I just have to get my head. I'm at work and y'all are here. You're off of work when y'all are out watching me. So it's just getting ready. It's exciting. I'm anxious. I'm not a very patient person. So I'm ready to get up there. When it gets 30 minutes in, we're the band's meeting up and we're getting ready for the next part we'll talk about later.
That's good to hear because you're not the guy that makes us all wait and wait and wait.
I like to be. That's the funny thing about me in general. Like if any of my team, anybody knows that I feel like artists are kind of known for being late or whatever, showing up whenever. And I don't know how I didn't get that quality, but I like to be on time. I think I'm one of the few. I don't know where I got that from, but I do try to be on time. And like I said, when people are waiting for meet and greet or whatever, I'm trying to be on time because they got to get out there to see the opening acts. And I've seen all that from the ground up, from the merch table, from all that stuff. So it's just, I've learned a lot along the way. And I think my path getting to where I am right now obviously shaped the way I look at everything, the way I treat everything, treat everybody. So that's, you got to appreciate where you come from.
I need to ask you one question about the pandemic and what it's taught you about the passion you have to perform. When something's taken away from you, you start to reflect and all. 2020 has been a heck of a year. It's put concerts on hold. It's put tours on hold. Another tour you were doing with Thomas Rhett rescheduled. So you're sitting there, right? And you're finding ways to fill your time too. But what did pandemic teach you about you and the passion for being an entertainer?
Being honest. I've always, loved what I do. I've been doing it for a while now, but I feel like sometimes we all get complacent and you're going through the motions sometimes. And then all of a sudden, I never expected this though. It's almost that cliche, you don't know what you got till it's gone, but this is for real. I know, this ride is I'm going to make it last as long as I can. And however long that lasts is fine, but I never expected it to be taken away by a pandemic, by, all of us not being able to do it, not just the music industry. Every industry has been affected by this. And it's taught me that, what is important. And to me, my career is important. It's not the most important thing to me. And it's also taught me that, but I know that, what I love to do, I'm certain that that's what I love to do is be on stage, be out, around people, being around the band and crew, but the fans, that's the whole reason I would never be where I am without being a fan of sports, of music, and to be on the other side of that, I know what it feels like to be a fan. I am a fan. So, they're dependent on us, but it's just it's a crazy year, something we're all having to go through together and figure out together. Technology has allowed me to still be able to write songs and do things that you might not be able to do. So it's taught me, and also that, the ones you love. For me, hopefully if people are getting to spend a lot more time with their loved ones than they used to, hopefully, they're taking advantage of that. Me, I'm been stuck in Nashville a lot. So I'm, every trip I can take home from now on, I'm taking it, and it just, I hate that sometimes it takes, tough times to wake us all up. But I think that's what this is, honestly, just a big wake up call. And as bad as it is, has been, whatever. I think we're going to come out of this better and just appreciating things more. If that's the best thing that comes out, that's fine with me. If we just appreciate life and the things that matter a little more.
Great point, great perspective. You brought up songwriting. Perfect segue, Cole. Before we get to your younger days as a kid, and I want to talk about your upbringing and so forth, but I want to give people the launch of your success, which, to hear you tell it, to read about it, etc., is really songwriting and not performing in that order. Am I right? 2010 to 2013, that's what your main thing was. It was writing music.
Yeah. And that is, it's the performing part. Obviously, it kind of really took over after, but, my college years is where first, we'll get to the sports stuff, but I played sports my whole life and always loved music, I never sang or never did either. I didn't sing in the school to any of that, and I got to college and got a chance to play my, first gig and playing cover songs. But then I wasn't even writing, it took a couple years playing cover songs for me to realize, fall in love with people like, Eric Church and Dierks Bentley's first album, Luke Bryan, realizing they're writing their own music. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, these songs I'm singing that people are singing back up here acting like I'm doing, these aren't mine. I want to write those songs they're singing. And that just fired it all up right there. And that was, before I left college to go to Nashville. So I already had the writing bug. That's why I wanted to move. Was at that point I was like, I'm going to be a songwriter. I don't know about the record deal. I don't know if I'll ever get one of those, but I'm going to write songs. I have to do that. And that was why I went to Nashville. And first several years, that's what I did, man. Writing songs. It got my name out there. It got my foot in the door, getting songs recorded by other artists, getting, those on the radio, and finally having a chance to sing them myself. But writing is why I moved to Nashville. And it's, without the songwriters, and it took me a while to know that. I think growing up as a kid, you just thought everybody wrote their own songs, the song they were singing, they wrote it, or maybe you didn't even care about the writing. But, and you learn that, the writers are special. And I think me coming up through the writing world now, when I'm picking songs for my album, when I'm writing songs, when just you go through situations of recording and issues with this song and that, and I'm always looking out for the songwriter because I know what it's like to be one, and I know how much they're counting on this song. It's rare to get a song recorded. So like I said, you don't see the path. I didn't expect to move to Nashville and sell t-shirts, but that's my path. And looking back, it's kind of like, it's cool. I was like, man, I don't want to, this isn't why I moved, but it was a huge opportunity and I didn't care. Luke gave me an opportunity to do that. So, and that allowed me to start my writing career. So,
well, you've written songs for so many: Florida Georgia Line, This Is How We Roll, Kraig Campbell, Out of My Head, Thomas Rhett, Get Me Some of That, Scotty McCreery, Water, Tower Town, Chris Young, Nothing But the Cooler Left, and also Luke Bryan. Now tell me about how you and Luke met. Your relationship is pretty special.
Yeah. Me and Luke grew up, we're obviously both from Southwest Georgia, and like 15 minutes apart, but he was a couple years ahead of me. I never knew him growing up. I didn't meet him until I got to Georgia Southern University, and we happened to be in the same fraternity. I'd heard his name. You see the composites on the wall, and that's Luke Bryan. He's in a band, and back then he had a band name. It was Niami Road, I think, and they'd come back from Nashville to play the local bars. And they came back to do a show one time. I'd never met him. He was in the same fraternity. So when you're at that age, college, it's like you got a fraternity brother in a band. It was pretty cool, And he came up to change his strings on the front porch of the steps, and we're all out there just kind of tailgating, getting ready for the show that night. And I remember he got his strings ready. And he said, "Do y'all care if I play something I wrote?" And it was only about 3 or 4 of us out on the front porch. And he played a song that he wrote called "Small Town Favorite Son," and it just blew my mind how much, for one, the song was amazing, but I was like, wait, you wrote that? And he's like, yeah, that's what I'm up there doing. And from then on, we just built this relationship. I was kind of his Statesboro connection. He would send me songs he's written, and, I would jam them. I couldn't keep a demo CD of his because I was giving them away. I was like, you got to hear this guy. Trust me, he's going to be the next biggest thing. Trust me. And just, I was just a fan of his music. He'd come to town and, I'd get to hang. I'd get to open up for him. And then when it came time, he had given me advice. And before I moved to Nashville, I just remember he mentioned, hey, well, never know, I might need a merch guy someday. And that's all I needed to hear. I'm like, I might not get it, but I got to go. What if that's my way to learn, And so I went to Nashville not knowing if I'd ever write a song or get a record deal. And that's where it all started, man. One weekend after applying to all the bars, Luke was like, I'm going out for some shows. And he was brand new at this. He had one album maybe just come out, I think, and his very first album. And he needed a merch guy for the weekend. And that lasted 3 years. So, yeah, but I learned so much on the road, like I said, just from, how important merch is and just, everything. I was around the fans a lot back then and just seeing all of that. It was just a blessing, I think, looking back to have that job, and me and Luke, like I said, that's how the relationship started. We ended up writing some songs on the road. Finally, I got off doing the merch and, got my publishing deal where I just got to write songs, and that was why I moved. That was the goal at the time. I wasn't even thinking about a record deal. So Luke was a big part in getting me to that point, and having written some of his songs as well, man. That to go from selling somebody's T-shirts to writing a #1 song for him is my favorite only in Nashville story ever. So.
I'm sitting here with this vision of you. And knowing where you are now, walking around with a Luke Bryan T-shirt on, selling them, flagging people down. Hey, check out this Luke Bryan guy. He's going to be on American Idol someday.
Absolutely. No, but the funny thing is back then in Georgia, he was already huge. Huge, but before he had his record deal, pretty much. And, so we'd go traveling and go on the road somewhere. I'd never really left Georgia too much, maybe a couple times as a kid, but not much. And we're traveling the country and we're at this place and people are walking by my little merch stand and they're going, who the heck is Luke Bryan? And I'm like, who are you? Are you kidding me? I'm like, how do you not know who this is? And it just, every little experience, it's like, man, just because you're, you might be known somewhere, it doesn't mean everybody in the world or everybody in the country knows you. Not now they do though. It's like I said, just to know him from that point and believe this the whole time. I'm not just saying that. I literally, when I saw him play that night after I met him, I was like, whatever he's doing up there, it's infectious. And when I'm playing, I got to make people feel like that. That's kind of the same way the first time I saw Chesney. It's like, you just inspired. It's like that. If I got to make somebody feel the way they're making me feel, that's the best way I can say it. And that's, he's just one of many influences.
Yeah. It's not what you're saying. It's how you make people feel. That's what it's about with audiences. All right. Let's talk about Cole the Kid. You grew up in Georgia with two brothers. Close-knit family as a child? Is that the way your family was?
We were, absolutely. As a child growing up, I had two brothers, Richie and Jay. And when my parents split when I was in about 5th grade, and we moved over to where my mom's from, Southwest Georgia, which is kind of where I call home, but still, kept in touch. Had a great relationship with my dad, my brothers. Obviously didn't see them, as much but I remember those days. Before that, I grew up, I was at the ball fields every day. That's all I did was play sports. My brothers, growing up around them, they were a couple years older than me. And just, I don't know, to grow up around sports like that, music. They were playing me my first kinds of music, and it wasn't always country. I remember, Bon Jovi, all that stuff, just being a kid, and whatever they liked, I liked, and, to go and then also carry that on over to Southwest Georgia. That's where I grew, went to high school and played sports. And that's when I kind of really got into country music, I feel like, in junior high school, and when I was just, getting to be a teenager. And it's, like I said, that's what I love about looking back about all that, is every little thing got you there. All the people in the first town I lived, that was a part of my life. So is the next part. And just, it all got me right here, and just to go through something like that. But I will say that was a tough time as a kid, and I think that is, that everything builds you into who you are. And I think that's the way, I've learned. I think that's why the way I am, to people, and I treat people like that, because I just, appreciate where I come from, and you never know what somebody's going through. So that, sports and growing up in small towns, man, that was me.
Tough in what way growing up? You just said it made you better. You talked about the relationship with your dad. You lost him unexpectedly. Was that a part of it?
Right. Absolutely. I think, I just think any kid, that's ever been through, parents getting divorced. It was I was in 5th grade. It was just a rough time, I think, for me. And that, but I had a great family. We had a great relationship. It was just one of those things that, I don't know, just I think made me who I am. And then also, losing when I went back to college though, at Georgia Southern, that was where my dad, I was only 3.5 hours away. That's where he lived. And that's when we, kind of got to be really close. I was around him all the time. He came to all my shows. I mean, my mom never got to see me play really until I'd made it really, because I was playing in bars and so I was like, you don't want to come here, and my dad and brothers would come over and see me play these little bars with 30 people watching or whatever, and I could just tell how proud he was then, and I always say that, at least he got to see me get my record deal and knew I'd made it. So
you talked about all the sports, right? So big Braves guy, Georgia Bulldogs fan, Falcons, what?
I'm a huge Braves fan, obviously, just big Georgia sports fan in general. I'm, like I said, just proud to be from Georgia, love Nashville, but always when people say, where are you from? I'm like, Georgia. So, but yeah, Braves, Falcons, I have a nephew that's at Georgia, so, I love to hang with him there, but also Georgia Southern, I rock the Georgia Southern hat on stage. That's where I went, and I know they're proud of me and I'm proud of them. So I'm a huge diehard Georgia Southern fan. So.
Hey everybody, I really want to tell you about Ahead, one of our new partners this season and now the official headwear provider of Tracks to Success. Creativity, a sharp look, dozens of styles to choose from. Ahead's been supplying the most prestigious events and outfitting the world's top golfers for 25 years, and it's perfect for you as well. So if you're looking to dress for success, make sure you think Ahead. Here's your chance to save big. Visit aheadusashop.com now and use the code TTSPOD. That's TTSPOD and receive 20% off your purchase. Ahead, the finest in headwear, the official headwear of the Tracks to Success podcast, and available at aheadusashop.com. All right, I got to ask you about the fraternity. All right, because I was in a fraternity house.
Oh, okay.
I was a social chairman my junior year. I ran us into debt. Then they made me the president to figure it out. What kind of a fraternity guy were you? Sigma Chi, and I know you were a marketing major in college. Yeah. So I guess you probably were Mr. Social. Is that fair?
I was the rush chairman. Yeah, that's the only office I held. That and t-shirt. Funny enough, I was t-shirt chairman. I got to design the t-shirts. So maybe that's where I really got my t-shirt start was the fraternity days. But yeah, being rush chairman the year or so that was one of the, I think everybody's rush chairman. But for me to be in charge of that, I think that was pretty fair. I mean, we were playing shows and taking people out, doing that. That was fun. So, but I could see you being social chairman too. So that's good. Would have been a good team.
Yeah, we would have been a good team. We might have even let Luke Bryan be in there. I mean, I don't know how cool he was.
He on stage, he'd be playing for us. We'd be running stuff.
All right, so from 2010 to 2013, you brought this up already. You had a publishing deal as a songwriter, kind of like a news reporter before they become an anchor. You know what I'm saying? They learn the ropes and they see it from a different side. So was it paying your dues, or was it learning how to become a real entertainer in that time period for you? Did you see it from that vantage point?
From the merch days?
Yeah, and then songwriting. It seems like you gotta walk before you run.
Oh yeah, for sure. So 2010, 13. I mean, that was the time when I was writing a lot. I'd had my publishing deal, and that's what I did every single day. That was when I was getting those songs recorded by Thomas Rhett and Luke. Every day I had a schedule, and people wonder, how do you do that? And it's like anybody else with appointments. I mean, you have writing appointments and you look at your schedule, you see where you're writing that day, whatever. So that's what I did. And that's, a year or so, 2 years in after getting these songs recorded before I ever got my record deal, right around, we're not getting there yet, but the songs I was writing, labels were hearing them for artists and being like, who is this? Why is he not singing this? Or who, and it got my name out there being the writer, and other people record my songs because people always ask, do you wish you'd, kept any of those? I'm like, absolutely not. That helped me get to where I am. And I think, when it was at that point, I started seeing, hey, maybe, I dreamed of a record deal. I moved here to be a better songwriter, but man, if this is something that's possible, I probably need to book a few shows, so that was where it, I'd been playing all through college, but this is where, for a couple of years, I had to get my band together, which I have pretty much every one of them still with me to this day. They were with me before I got my record deal, and they were the ones that, were in a van with me breaking down and rolling and just kind of, I think I learned a lot in college about entertainment, but then I think being around Nashville and just being out there opening shows for people every now and then, seeing how it's really done, helped a lot.
Cole, how do you get a band together? Like, you were Rush chairman in college. Is that kind of it? Do you just use your, I'm going to use the old term, Rolodex. We can use whatever you want. Do you start calling people and yanking them off as somebody else's band? Do you get people who are looking for, the opportunity just like you were to get something started and say, hey, be a part of this, or what?
Yeah, that's a great point there. When you were at my level then, you weren't yanking anybody from anybody. I was just trying to find, one at that point. And he is one of my best friends to this day. Joel Hutzel is my lead guitarist, and he was the first one I met. I remember a guy I was writing with a lot, kind of working with. He's a producer and great guy, Jeremy Stover. He was like, man, you got to meet this guy. There's some songwriter friends of mine have a cousin in town. He played football at Valdosta State. He's here. He, wants to play guitar or whatever. So he's like, I think, y'all need to meet. So we went out to a show, met Joel, and he kind of helped me. He was playing with other people around town. See, I wasn't doing the Broadway gigs or any of that at that point. So he already knew people in bands, and he knew the kind of, folks we wanted and all that. I mean, and I think he's the one that kind of led that charge. I did know a drummer that used to play for Kraig Kann back in the day, but he wasn't playing with him at the time. But I always told him, I was like, man, if I ever get a band going, I want you to be my drummer. I think he remembered just laughing at me like, yeah, sure, man. And both of those two are, and the rest I just kind of followed in. But man, that's something that I take pride in, the fact that we have a good group. And, I don't know how it was just in the plans, I think, because for me to have guys this good that have had my back for this long, that doesn't just happen. So I got lucky on that, and I don't know how we found them, but I glad to have them.
Season 2 of Tracks to Success is brought to you by Presentation Partners. Presentation Partners is a unique team of award-winning executives helping you build a presentation others will be talking about. Presentation Partners teaches you the true art of storytelling. And if you haven't heard about their neuroscience of persuasion, you'll see how valuable it is to own it. Whether you're a company or an entrepreneur, Presentation Partners is the team you need behind you. For almost 15 years, they've helped clients raise millions in capital and countless dollars in sales simply by making top leaders successful presenters. The time is now to find your authentic voice and learn your authentic story. Presentation Partners, creating persuasive story presentations based on something other than just your good looks. 2013, Cole, you let fly your debut single, Chillin' It. It climbed the charts. Lots of play on Sirius XM on the highway. I love that channel, by the way. I listen to it all the time. Did you have the confidence you could be a star before you released it? Or was that what gave you the confidence when people started going, oh man, this is really good? Did you have the confidence first?
I can't say that I did. I didn't know about being a star. I wasn't even thinking about that. All I knew is that from being around the songwriting world, from being a fan my whole life, from just, I feel like being a fan, when you hear music, you just, I don't know, you get excited about it. And this song that I wrote, Chillin' It, I felt different about it than anything I'd ever written. I just know by how many times I listened to it. If you can listen to something that many times and not get tired of it, I was like, this is it. And the crazy story, talking about the highway, is about 2 weeks from then, we were supposed to release my Highway Fine song, which was another song that ended up being on my first album and released later. But when I wrote this, I went to my manager, Carrie Edwards, and I was like, look, this is it. We got to go. This is it. And we got lucky enough and changed it. And you never know when you do that you just expect, you hope if you love it that much, being a fan, you hope somebody out there connects with it. And to me, Chillin' It, yeah, it was just one of those, people didn't know who I was yet, didn't want to know. I just wanted a song. And I don't know why I had that mindset, but I wanted a song that they didn't have to know who I was or care. Like, I wanted them to roll the windows down and it be their favorite song that summer. And that was my plan. I don't know what made me want that plan, but it, thank God it worked. And that's all you ever want, and I think, is for people to kind of connect with what you're wanting to do. And that song, I just wanted it. And, that song allowed me to do the You Should Be Here's, the Breakup in the Ends, because, it's all, I think you're judged by your latest song on the radio, but it's like, look, we can't, release but one at a time. So it's amazing to get to kind of tell your story, like you said earlier, through my singles and through the albums, not just the songs you hear on the radio. That's why I hope people, go back and listen to all the songs on the albums, because some of my best stuff, I think we didn't get a chance to release it, but that's the beauty of it, man. Just trying to record the best songs, and I'm just glad I'm getting to do it.
2014 debut album called Cole Swindell. Catchy title, by the way. So
didn't have any better.
So Chillin' It's on there. Hope You Get Lonely Tonight. Ain't Worth the Whiskey. Let Me See You, Girl. Which song? Let's just focus on that album for a second, because that was the launch. Which song has special meaning? Not because it's better than the other, and I'm sure you get asked this a lot. Oh, what's your favorite song? And you can't say, well, no, I don't like those songs. But which one has special meaning because it's tied to your life or who you are or were at that time?
Yeah. So talking about the debut album, so you're not talking about just the radio?
No,
just the whole album?
That album.
Yeah. Probably, if my number in high school was always 12, that's still to this day, when I see 12, I think about that. That's always my favorite number. So if you notice, track number 12 on every album is always a special song. And I think that's the one for me on that one. It's called The Back Roads and The Back Row. And it's just, just everything, just about growing up where I did in South Georgia. And I think, when people say, what was it like growing up? And to be able to say, check out this song, that's about as good as I can say it. Sometimes I can't say it how I want to, it's better to just write it down and sing it. And I think that's one of those to me, obviously Ain't Worth the Whiskey, it's a single, but the special, the times I've had with that song as well, and just how connected it is with, all of our men and women serving the country. It's like I said, those two songs to me are the special ones.
All right, notice here, I'm going in chronological order. So 2015 ACM New Artist of the Year. That's cool. What was the thing you learned about yourself in finding your first, individual big time award? Was it perseverance? Was it reaching the potential you always thought was there? What was it that when they said you're that guy, New Artist of the Year, what went through your head?
It's crazy. Just the other day, I was looking through an old phone for a number, and I was going through all these, I had these pictures from the ACMs and videos of me and the band when we were going through trying to get fans to vote. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, God, I can't believe we did that. Like, just some of the stuff, the memories, and to still have those. I mean, man, that was, and to be there with them to share that night. I mean, that was, one of the biggest moments of my career, if not. I mean, you go from the night before getting to sing with, I sang with Alan Jackson, Chattahoochee the night before, a hero of mine, nervous as all get out. And then the next day was no different. I mean, just the whole day, the whole night. And just when they're reading out those names, I've never felt like that in my life, man. Like, no matter if you win or lose, it's nerve wracking. And to hear my name that night, I don't know, that's the highlight of my career, I think, so far, just to knowing, hey, I'm here, like, let's go. And that was, like I said, we didn't stop there, but that was, to me, you talked about confidence. I mean, I felt good about it then, and it isn't about the awards. You say that and you learn later on, you're not going to win every award. It's not, it doesn't happen like that. So it makes you appreciate the ones that you have a shot at. And that, to me, will always, man. And it was the 50th ACMs. It was out in Arlington outside Dallas. It was amazing night.
Yeah. Second album, You Should Be Here, 2016, 3 hit singles, all reached number 1 or number 2. 2018, third studio album, all of it. In all, you've recorded 3 studio albums, 10 singles, 5 extended plays. You've done 15 videos. What I want to know is what moves you? Like, what gets you amped up? Are you a perfectionist as a performer, or a guy who can just let it all go and just kind of wings it out there a little bit more? You know what I'm saying? Are you structured? What gets you fired up, Cole?
I may need some more structure, honestly. I got to feel it, man. And sometimes that's good and bad. Like, if you rely strictly on the crowd energy, it might take a couple songs, to really put, and sometimes that happens to me. Like, but man, when you run out there and they're already ready, I just feed off the crowd. And I know, I'm sure everybody says that, but there's times when the shows get bigger and this and that, you have to start thinking about where you're going to be, hey, starting this song. And that's just as you grow and the fun parts, but I don't ever want it to be so planned out that it's not natural. That's all I want to do. And that's what I've learned from my favorite performers is whatever they're doing is not on purpose. It's just, they're just doing it, and everybody's connecting to it. And that's what I try to do in every show. You have the moments to take a breather and sing the slow ones, but man, when it's time to get back going. And it's just like the crowd, seeing other people have fun. That was always from the beginning for me. My first shows in college was being on stage. I hadn't even started writing, just seeing people have fun and knowing that, man, I could help with that. That's what I get into.
You've had relationship songs, love songs like Break Up in the End, I'll Be Your Small Town. How tough are relationships in your line of work? Everything, it's so public. So public.
Right. Oh,
every new relationship, every breakup, there's articles, this magazine, that magazine. When it falls apart, how tough is that?
It's luckily, I mean, like I said, I haven't figured it completely out yet, obviously, but it is tough, man. And like I said, I haven't had to deal with the public kind of relationships too much. I mean, I definitely have, and it's not that fun. That's not what I asked for. It's not what it's about to me, but in this world today, it's so much about social media and your personal life and this and that. And when I just want to write songs and sing them. But I get it. People want to know more about you, but it's just, I don't know. Sometimes it's personal stuff like that. I just know how this world is and how it can be, when people know, you're dating this person or that they're going to go after them. And it's just like, saying mean things. And it's just, I've seen it happen. And that's why I kind of like to keep my personal life private. But, I get it. Some people don't. I mean, it's just it's a personal preference, I think, thing for me. But it was a learning experience. And hey, when I finally do figure it all out and hopefully get settled down, it'll be worth it. But a lot of it too has been how much work I put into my career and how hard it is to have a relationship being gone all the time. I mean, I think it's going to take somebody really, really special, for one, to just put up with me, two, to put up with the traveling. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to that. But man, it's like I said, and that's another thing I'm looking forward to, is not putting so much into my career. That's all. I mean, I've worked so hard on this, but I also want to have the other, outside of this, a real life too. And that, this is real life, but it's just not always. I feel like I want to have that personal, where I can shut off the being on stage and just, people to know me for who I really am.
In addition to hosting this podcast, Kraig leads the Kann Advisory Group, focused on elevating communication for companies and individuals. Company consulting, empowering team and individual workshops, mind-altering webinars, and Kraig's inspiring keynotes for your conference or company meeting. They're all on the menu of services. Kann Advisory helps companies clarify their message, helps professionals build and showcase their brand, and helps everyone present their best selves. So if you're the leader of a team or company looking to give your employees a game-changing one-day experience, or an individual who wants to become a speaker and presenter that gets other people talking, visit cannadvisory.com. And when you do connect, make sure to mention the Tracks to Success podcast to receive a special discount on any of the Kann Advisory services. That's cannadvisory.com. Now back to the interview.
All right, let's do some fun stuff. Quick hits here. Quick hits, quick answers, fun stuff. Number one, I'm starting with this one. It's pretty easy. Colden Rainey Swindell. That's your real name. How come Colden didn't work out? Why didn't you go with that?
I don't know. I mean, Colden Rainey, the more I look back, it's as much as it sounds like a weather forecast, I'm named after my grandpa, so I'm proud of that. But I don't know. Colden, I was just called Cole as a kid, and it just kind of always stuck. But it's funny when people hear my name, whatever, I'm calling you Colden. I'm like, that's fine. I don't know. Maybe I'll go by that someday. But for now, I guess I'll stick with Cole.
Would be a new album title. All right.
There you go.
The artist you would pay to go see any type of music.
I would have loved to sing Prince. Obviously, Elvis would have been. I would love to have seen that. I'd love to sing when the Beatles ran out, and it sounded like now when like Taylor Swift runs out or something. It's just like that. People just fainting and stuff. What is that like? Like, I just would love to see a concert of the legends that came before us, any of them. But yeah, Elvis would probably be my favorite. Okay,
you just said Eric Church. The artist you would pay money to go see country music.
Okay. Obviously Church, I said that, but I'm going back to the first time I saw Kenny Chesney, man. And like I said, to me, I love his music, but just with the guy he is and how, he connects with the audience. We've been talking about that the whole time, but I'm serious. The first time I saw him play, that was when I said, that was it. I was like, that I have to be able to do that. I mean, whatever he's doing, I mean, he's got the person in the very top up there locked in. And, he's one of many though. Like I said, I'd pay to, I'm just a big fan, but of Chesney, like I said, if you've never seen like a big stadium show or something, I mean, it's just the energy in there and how he's got everybody, just his speeches in between songs, just everything. It's like, just if you're in this business you ain't watching and learning, then you shouldn't be there. So
What's better for travel? Bus rides or flying? What do you enjoy more?
Definitely, I love the bus, man. I pretty much do live on it, but I've gotten so used to it. I'd sleep better on that thing than at home. But flying, it just depends on where you're going, I think. But for me, even the long rides, it's not too bad on the bus. I do love that. I actually, don't have to deal with security, all that stuff. So I love the bus. But when we're going out west or somewhere, we have to fly, and the bus picks us up. So
who's a better judge on American Idol, Katy Perry or Luke Bryan?
Sorry, Luke. Katy Perry. I'm kidding. I love both of them, but I'm going with Katy. I don't know. What should I go with? Who do you think?
Hey, I mean, you think I'm not going to offend your friend, but I'm kind of a Katy Perry fan too.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'll go with Katy. Luke, we've talked about him enough today, so I'm going with Katy Perry.
Awesome.
I love you, Luke.
Text people or phone calls?
Oh boy, text all day. That's I know, like, unless it's something that, can't wait, but
okay.
People just like call you up in the middle just to, I'm going with text.
Beach vacation, ski vacation?
You know what? I've never been on a ski vacation. I'm going there. All I do is go to the beach, so I'm going ski vacation.
NFL or NBA?
NFL.
Is Tom Brady your guy because he wears number 12?
No, he's not. I'll take Matt Ryan wearing number 2, I guess.
It doesn't shock me. You wear the ball cap a lot. You brought that up, Georgia Southern. Do you wear the hat during the day, all day? I mean, you got the Diamond Resorts hat going right now. Do you always wear the hat, including on stage?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of my thing. I'm a hat guy. I guess I always have been, just growing up playing baseball. That I just always, I don't know, I'm more comfortable with one on.
All right, here we go, buddy. This is for you. Golf. How many rounds do you play per week?
Oh gosh. I mean, that honestly depends on the schedule. I mean, anywhere from, 3 or 4 to none to 1, I just, any week I can, especially like when we're on the road, it's just, we have a schedule. That's what I like to do, is try to book a tee time in the morning. And, so that's only 3 or 4 days. We might play twice, maybe once early in the week. So maybe I'll say 3 times if I'm lucky. But I love it. I'd love to play more than that. So,
how much Golf Channel do you watch?
Oh, a lot. Just, I leave it on pretty much and fall asleep, whatever. I always have it on. I like to follow along.
You're addicted to the game. How did you get hooked?
My dad he always loved it, and I just, growing up, he always taught me to play, and I always remember him saying, I know you love, football, but all this stuff, but I bet you'll be able to play golf a lot longer than you'll be able to play that. And that's just, man, I've always just loved it. And like I said, people are like, they expect me to be like really, really good. And I'm all right. I'm not saying I'm bad. I've played my whole life. I shouldn't be terrible, but it's just, I just love the game. And maybe that's because he taught me. Maybe that's because I love golf. I just love it. I mean, I love everything about it. And like I said, to me, loving sports is kind of the only thing I still play. So maybe that's part of it too. But man, I sure do respect the game and just the people all of you that are around it. And I don't know, it's something other than music. People know what my passion is, and it's like I said, I love golf.
So many good players in country music too, right? I mean, like
like real Colt Ford. Yeah, Colt Ford's unbelievable. I mean, he's just as good of a teacher, man, as he is player. He's like, really good. Obviously, Jake Owen's great. Charles Kelly, Darius. I mean, there's so many that are better than me. I just loved it, but maybe that's some motivation. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get you to hook me up, and we'll get some lessons going, and if anybody will teach me.
I'll hook you up. You got that. We'll get that going right after this. Your favorite player on the PGA Tour? Who is it?
Oh, going with Justin Thomas. I met him a couple times and just I don't know. It's crazy to see him play the game, man. I like JT.
You got somebody on the LPGA Tour?
LPGA. Oh, I've got a chance to play in the Diamond Resorts Invitational with Danielle Kang a couple years, and she's like I said, I love all those girls. I just getting to play with her and just how funny she is, man. That was, we hit it off. She's a cool girl, but like I said, it's amazing to play in that tournament and watch how good they all are. I mean, it's amazing.
She's a super talent, super person too.
Yeah.
All right, that was fun. You don't have kids, but you just talked about your dad getting you into golf and stuff. If you did have kids, what would you tell them is most important about picking a career?
Man, obviously, I mean, it seems like such a simple answer, to me. Just find something, you love to do. And I don't know. I was always so nervous in college and stuff. I was undeclared major for 2 years because I didn't want to make the wrong choice. I didn't want to have to switch it or whatever. And it's just, sometimes it takes that. You got to find what you love. I mean, I didn't know until my last year in Statesboro that, I knew I wanted to do music, but I didn't know I was really going to get to it. But I just found that, is there anything else that I could do that makes me feel like music does? And although it wasn't the smartest thing at the time, because you got to be smart about it. You got to make a living. But to me, I went after the feeling instead of the money. And I don't know. I just knew I had to be around it no matter what happened. I was going to be in the music business. And to me, I just think you find something that moves you like that you're that passionate about. And like I said, man, that's what I would say.
Talking with country music artist Cole Swindell. A few more things, Cole, before we let you go. This podcast is called Tracks to Success, inspiring people and their inspiring stories. What inspires you the most in your life? What makes you excited to get up in the morning? I'm guessing you're an early riser. It's just a gut feeling I have.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I like to get up and get going. For me, like I said, it's been a crazy year, but honestly, it's like I said, it's been taken away. I think to me, it is honestly the people that let me do what I do. I know I wouldn't be where I am without people that love my music, fans that support you. And I think showing up for them, giving them the best show, writing the best song. Like I said, other than my family and people like that, I think it really is the fans, the people that, allow me to do what I love for a living. We were just talking about that, and those are the folks responsible. There's a lot of people involved, but the fans that show up, pay money, and support you, that's what motivates me, drives me.
In golf, getting to the tour is incredibly hard, right? There's so many people that want to do it. Very few can achieve it. And I have a good buddy of mine who I work with on the radio talking about it, and I did TV with him as well, who said that tour card is on loan. You've got to really work hard to keep it. So staying there and staying among the elite is an incredibly difficult task for most. Oh, yeah. Do people really realize the work it takes to stay relevant in your industry, in the music industry?
I wouldn't think they do, because I'm learning it. It's crazy, man, that, like I said, I feel like obviously sports and what we do are a little different, but just the shot, getting your chance and even getting there. I feel like that's so similar, and staying there. It's like I said, especially we talked about the start of my career. Right off the bat, just boom. And it doesn't happen like that, So when when you're not the new guy, the brand new guy, or, the very top of the genre, you're going to be somewhere in the middle, and there's going to be these other new people with these new hot songs. And it's just to stay there. You got to, it's kind of a wake up call. It's like, look, I gotta start writing. I think this year and last year I've been writing a ton. It's all about the songs and just, being the best artist you can be. And like I said, there's so much talent that it's tough, man. Everybody thinks it's all, fun and games, but it really is. You got, people that would give anything to be in your shoes every single day, not to mention a band, a crew of people to take care of, relying on every decision. You make one bad decision and it ruins your career, and it ruins all there. It's a big deal. Like I said, it's a lot in anything when you get to, I feel like, a level of, when you're a pro at anything, it's gosh, I mean, you gotta take care of that and realize that this is your shot and make the most of it.
Are you nervous about social media and the potential of a slip up and the way the
Oh,
world is today?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's obviously one of the best tools ever. I mean, it always, but then again, I mean, it's the way things are taken, the way things are portrayed. It's just, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I mean, things back in the day would have never, happened like that. But then again, like I said, there's a lot of good to it, but I think it can be, somebody makes a mistake and it costs them their entire career because of social media. It's just, it's sad. I mean, it really does. I mean, if you notice, I do post stuff here and there, but it's just not because I think I'm going to slip up. I just know how people are when they get into your personal life. It's just, but it's a great tool. And like I said, I just wish all the haters, I just wish everybody be good to everybody. And that's why I think some athletes, some music, they don't even look at that stuff. And I need to, I wish I could do that, but I just feel like we kind of have to. We kind of have to know what's going on and stay relevant and all that. So that's a tough call, but like you said, I'm sure it's good and bad, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you're all about your brand. You're trying to put it out there. And sometimes I think people, when they look at social media, they don't know if it's really Cole Swindell or if it's your quote unquote handlers or your PR team. And that's the tough thing about having an authentic message, which is what I want to get to here real quick. I've spent my entire career in communications, TV, radio, and now podcasts like this, or going out doing workshops on leadership communication with executives, or media coaching with athletes and so forth. And you got to have a message, and you have to teach people how to give others a message that has a stickiness factor that they can use and take with them, etc. How important is it for you, Cole, as an entertainer, as a singer, to communicate? I'm not just talking about connecting with your audience. I'm talking about communicating with your audience, both on stage and off, to make them know you and what you believe or feel.
Right. And that's something that I think I can improve on. Definitely. I moved to this town to do music, but I guess when you're, you do have a platform, I certainly want to use mine for good, but also, want to be careful about what I do. And I believe that, I respect everybody's opinion on anything. And I do have my beliefs, but, there's some things that I like to keep to myself. And, the world has enough negativity that I just think, I'll keep that to myself and let, if other people want to voice and be stern on this, that does that. Yeah, but I respect that's their choice, and I wish people that, didn't want to speak on every single thing weren't just bashed because they were a celebrity or getting to do what it's just, that doesn't, I don't know, it kind of doesn't make sense. But I also understand the fact that when you are in a position to speak on things and have an opinion on anything, and it is important. I do want to get better at that, especially my fans, even if it's just me, not speaking on issues or this and that, just about what, who I am and what I do believe in. And that's something that, I don't know, I'm just a private person, I think, but that's something that, hey, even my management team, we're all like, they want people to know the real me. And I just kind of guarded, but I am working on that. So.
All right, let's fast forward 5 years. Last quick hit question, and then I'll wrap this up with one more. Yeah. What's your dream venue to perform? Like, where haven't you been on stage? Wembley Stadium, London, Madison Square Garden? I don't know. What is it?
That's what, yeah. I mean, I've played, being on the tours, obviously just opening up for bigger artists over the years. I mean, some of the tours I've been on have been amazing. I've played about everywhere you could want, but there's one venue that's still my dream venue, and I'm glad that I haven't opened up for anybody. I hope one day I can have a headline show, but in Red Rocks in Colorado, that's my dream venue right now. So
I've heard that place is amazing.
I know, man. And that's, like I said, I remember like a Dave Matthews live album in high school that I just wore out and just be like, I don't know. It would be cool to go back and get to do a show there. And man, it'd be cool. Red Rocks.
You should be here, right? Cole, you're an 11-time #1 hit songwriter, Breakthrough Songwriter of the Year 2016, Songwriter Artist of the Year 2016. My guess is that songwriter takes a lot of reflection to get the words right, to get the vibe of the music just right. You've got to sit there, you got to think about it and make it perfect. You seem to me, based on what I've just heard in our time together, like you're a reflective guy. In quiet moments, do you give yourself enough credit for your rise? Do you appreciate everything?
Probably not. I don't know, it just, I feel like it all goes so fast, but that's it. Thankful for my mom she always reminds me and puts me back in place. And it's not because, there's a fine line of sounding like ungrateful or whatever, because it's always what's next. And it does take somebody like my mom to be like, look at what you've done. Like, did you ever, because if you'd have told me that when I was driving to Nashville scared to death that I'd have had anything like this, I would have thought you're crazy. So it's just, when you get caught up in the rush of everything, I think it does. I mean, it takes something to just take, like, look, step back and just look at like what you've done, and that's, to me, I just know that I have worked hard to get here, but also it's hard for me to take credit for when I just know that it takes, a lot of people. And so it's just, I walk a fine line with that, but it is, like I said, I'm proud of everything we've done. And I'm glad that, like I said, I'm glad I made the move, took the chance, because not everybody's, brave enough to do that or can do that. I think that was my thing. A lot of people want to move to Nashville and do it, and they're in a situation where they can't. So for me to be in one, get here and make it happen, I'm very, very proud of that.
I'm really proud that you took the time to be with me, man. This has been so cool. I really appreciate it. And Single Saturday Night, it's a big hit for you. Not only do I hope for many more Single Saturday Nights, but a whole lot of nights on stage. And I hope I get to see you again in concert real soon.
Awesome, brother. Well, y'all stay well. And as you know, you and the family, whoever, y'all got tickets to my show anytime.
In our conversation, Cole talked about his gift for songwriting that made other stars bigger and gave him a huge value and a boost as a performer. And that leads me to my one last thing. If you want to be an influencer, realize the importance small steps to the big stage can actually make. Everything you do plays a role in your future success. No task too small. There's something to be gained from every opportunity. Cole has a number of hit singles, and if we can use that as a tie-in, my advice is that you take each career or work project as an opportunity to create your own hit single. Over-deliver on the expectation. Get people on board with your talent and your ability to create something that people will follow. Any music artist is only as good as the following they create. That's what you need to do. And sometimes your first brush with big notoriety, as happened with Cole, might come from being a big part of someone else's big hit. The bottom line is that climbing the charts in your career is all about making one hit at a time. Keep that focus, and your tracks to success will be a whole lot easier. I hope you'll share this podcast with friends and others you think might enjoy it just as you have, and give it a rating as well. Hey, I'm hoping this podcast keeps climbing the charts as well. Until next time, I'm Kraig Kann. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Tracks to Success, brought to you by Presentation Partners, visual storytellers passionate about connecting presenters with their audience. Don't forget to subscribe to the show for more great interviews and thoughts on reaching your highest personal and professional summit. You can follow Kraig on Twitter and Instagram using the handle @Kraig Kann. And for exclusive Tracks to Success content and news about our upcoming guests, you can find Tracks to Success on Twitter. It's @Tracks to Success.